The snow was falling softly that Christmas Eve, the kind that makes the whole world feel quieter. As if even the city had decided to lower its voice, people hurried past glowing shop windows with wrapped gifts and warm laughter trailing behind them. But on a small bench near the bus stop, a woman sat completely still. Her coat was thin, her hands were trembling, and tears slid down her cheeks without a sound. No sobs, no gasps. Just tears. She was deaf, and in that crowded, joyful night, she was more alone than anyone could imagine. Her name was Lily. Christmas Eve had never been kind to her. Ever since she lost her hearing as a child and later lost her parents in an accident, the holiday had become a reminder of everything she didn't have. No familiar voices, no carols sung off-key, no one calling her name from another room. Just silence and memories that hurt more than the cold biting at her skin. This year was worse than all the others. She had just been evicted from the tiny room she rented after losing her job at a bakery that closed down without warning. The last bus to the shelter had already left, and Lily didn't even know if they had space anymore. So she sat there, watching families pass by, clutching a small cloth bag that held everything she owned. Across the street, a man struggled to balance grocery bags in one hand and hold a little boy's mittened hand in the other. His name was Daniel, a single father who knew more about exhaustion than celebration. Life hadn't gone the way he'd planned either. His wife had passed away 3 years earlier, leaving him to raise their 6-year-old son, Noah, on his own. Christmas used to be his wife's favorite holiday. Now it was a complicated mix of joy for his son and quiet grief he carried alone. He worked 2 jobs, counted every coin, and tried to smile even when his heart felt tired. Noah noticed Lily before Daniel did. Children often see what adults miss. He tugged on his father's sleeve and pointed toward the bus stop, his eyes full of concern. Daniel followed his gaze and saw the woman sitting there, shoulders shaking, tears frozen on her cheeks. Something about her stillness struck him. She wasn't asking for money. She wasn't waving or calling out. She just looked forgotten. Daniel hesitated. He had his own struggles, his own bills, his own plans for a quiet Christmas night with just enough food and a small tree in the corner of their apartment. But then he remembered how many times strangers had helped him when he thought he couldn't go on. How someone once paid for his groceries when his card declined. How a neighbor watched Noah for free when Daniel had to work late. Kindness had carried him further than strength ever did. They crossed the street. Lily didn't notice them at first. When she finally looked up, startled, she saw a man and a little boy standing in front of her. Her body tensed. She was used to people talking at her, realizing she couldn't hear, then awkwardly walking away. Daniel spoke gently, but when she didn't respond, he quickly understood. He felt a pang of embarrassment for assuming. Then Noah did something unexpected. The boy raised his hands and slowly, carefully, signed a simple greeting. Lily's eyes widened. She hadn't seen someone sign to her in weeks. Noah wasn't fluent. He had learned basic sign language because one of his classmates was deaf. But what he signed was enough. "Hello, are you okay?" Lily pressed her hand to her mouth, fresh tears forming. She shook her head slowly. Daniel watched the exchange, his heart tightening. Noah looked up at his father, signing as best he could that she was sad and alone. Daniel crouched down and asked Noah to show him how to say something else. Then, clumsily but sincerely, Daniel signed, "Do you have somewhere to go tonight?" Lily swallowed hard and shook her head again. She signed back that she had nowhere. Christmas Eve, no family, no home. The cold air felt heavier after that. Daniel stood there, wrestling with himself. He knew the risks. He knew the reality of his small apartment and limited food, but he also knew what it felt like to face the night with nowhere to belong. He looked at Noah, whose eyes were hopeful and certain in a way only children's eyes can be. Without overthinking it, Daniel took a breath and signed the words that would change all of their lives. "Come home with us for a moment." Lily thought she had misunderstood. Her hands trembled as she signed back, asking if he was sure. Daniel nodded, smiling gently. Noah beamed, reaching out his mittened hand toward her. That walk to the apartment felt unreal to Lily. The warmth inside, the smell of simple food cooking, the small Christmas tree decorated with paper ornaments, it all felt like stepping into a memory she thought she'd lost forever. Daniel gave her a blanket and showed her where she could sit. He didn't ask questions right away. He didn't make her feel like a burden. He just treated her like a guest. That night, they shared what they had: soup, bread, and quiet company. Noah showed Lily the ornaments he made at school, proudly signing their meanings. A star for hope, a heart for love. Lily laughed silently, her shoulders shaking not with sorrow this time, but with joy. For the first time in years, Christmas Eve didn't hurt. Lily stayed the night on the couch, expecting that to be the end of it. A kind moment, a warm memory, then back to reality. But the next morning, Daniel offered her breakfast and something else helped. He helped her look for work, for programs that supported deaf adults. Lily was talented with her hands. She loved baking. Daniel remembered the closed bakery she mentioned and suggested she help him bake at home. What started as small batches of bread turned into neighbors placing orders. Word spread. Lily's baking wasn't just good, it was comforting. Weeks passed. Lily found a small room nearby, but she stayed close to Daniel and Noah. She helped Noah with his signing, and he helped her with reading lips and written notes. Slowly, a family formed not by blood, but by choice. But redemption isn't a straight road. One evening, Lily felt the tension between Daniel and a landlord who raised the rent unexpectedly. Fear crept back into her chest. She knew that fear too well. The fear of losing everything again. That night, she cried quietly, worried she was becoming a burden. That kindness would eventually turn into regret. Instead of pulling away, she did something brave. She applied for a small business grant for deaf entrepreneurs, using videos and sign language to tell her story. The loneliness, the Christmas Eve bench, the man and child who signed hope into her life. Months later, she was approved. The bakery reopened, not the old one, but a new beginning. Lily named it Silent Night Bakery, a place where sound didn't matter, but warmth did. Daniel helped with finances. Noah greeted customers with signs and a smile. The shop became a symbol in the neighborhood, a reminder that inclusion and kindness can build something beautiful. On the next Christmas Eve, snow fell just as softly, but this time, Lily stood inside the bakery, watching people gather, laughing, signing, sharing warmth. She wasn't alone. She was home. She looked at Daniel and Noah, her family, and felt something she hadn't felt in years, not just gratitude, but purpose. Pain had shaped her, but love had saved her. As the night came to a close, Lily turned off the lights and held the moment in her heart. One act of kindness had rewritten her story. One signed sentence had turned loneliness into belonging.